This is a comprehensive solution to Cambridge International AS Economics. Paper 1-3, multiple choice. October-November 2023. Question 1. A factory introduces an automated production line to take advantage of division of labour. What is most likely to increase? D is the correct answer. Worker productivity. Worker productivity is output per worker. As each worker performs a task repeatedly, he becomes more skillful and his output increases. A is wrong. Division of labour increases production, and average cost will decrease, not increase, because cost would be spread over a large output. B is wrong. Division of labour will not increase job satisfaction because repetition of tasks makes the work boring and demotivating. C is wrong. Each worker is skillful in one task and focuses on just one task. Question 2. Consumers do not use enough of a product to maximise their private benefit because they have imperfect information about the product. How would an economist classify this product? C is the correct answer. A merit good is usually underconsumed because of inadequate information about all the benefits of consuming it. For example, healthcare and education. A is wrong. A demerit good is overconsumed because consumers do not realise all the costs or dangers of consuming it. For example, alcohol, cigarette. B is wrong. A free good is a good that is available in abundance. For example, air. D is wrong because everybody has access to a public good even without paying for it, e.g. roads, policing. Question 3. The table shows different combinations of rings and bracelets that can be produced by Luke and Zoe in the same time period. Which statement is not correct? For this question, we are picking the statement that is wrong. D is the answer, as the statement is wrong, because Zoe's opportunity cost for each bracelet is not 2 rings. It is 0.5 ring. The opportunity cost is obtained by moving from one point to the other, moving from the top. To produce 8 additional bracelets, he gives up 4 rings. Therefore, to produce 1 bracelet, he has to give up 0.5 ring. That is 4 divided by 8, which is 0.5. Options A, B, and C are correct statements. A is not the answer because Luke has a larger opportunity cost for making bracelets. Luke's opportunity cost for every bracelet is 1 ring, while Zoe's opportunity cost is 0.5 ring. B is wrong because the opportunity cost of producing rings is constant for both Luke and Zoe. To calculate the opportunity cost of producing rings, we have to start from the bottom of the table. From the bottom moving upward, the quantity of rings is increasing while the quantity of bracelets is decreasing. For example, for Luke, from 0 ring to 6 rings, 6 extra rings are produced while giving up 6 bracelets, 18 minus 12. So 1 bracelet is the opportunity cost of producing every ring. This is the same from one point to the other on the table. Likewise for Zoe, moving from the bottom. 8 bracelets have to be foregone to produce 4 extra rings. 8 bracelets is obtained by subtracting 16 from 24. 4 extra rings is 12 minus 8. This means 2 bracelets are foregone for each ring. C is wrong as the statement is correct. Zoe should specialise in making rings. To determine who specialises in what, we must calculate opportunity cost ratio at every point for ring. For Zoe, it can produce 20 rings and 0 bracelets. The opportunity cost ratio for producing a ring is 0 divided by 20. It is 0. For the second combination, 16 rings and 8 bracelets. 8 divided by 16, giving 0.5. Others will be calculated in the same manner. The opportunity cost ratios for producing rings for Zoe are 0, 0.5, 1.3, and 8. The opportunity cost ratios for producing rings for Luke are 0, 0.5, 2, and infinity. Zoe should specialise in making rings as its opportunity cost ratios tend to be lower than those of Luke for most of the points. Question 4. What is an example of a free good? D is the correct answer. Anything that provides free utility but is not scarce. A free good is a good that is available in abundance and is available for everyone to use. For example, sunlight. A, B, and C are not free goods. They are scarce. They have an opportunity cost in their provision. There is a cost associated with making them available to additional consumers. They are economic goods. They attract price since they have costs attached, even though the government decides to bear the costs by providing them free of charge. Question 5. The diagram shows the market for computers in Pakistan. Which areas represent consumer surplus and consumer expenditure? B is the correct answer. Consumer surplus is WXY, Consumer expenditure is OXYZ. Consumer surplus is the difference between the price a consumer is willing to pay and the actual market price. It is the region between the demand curve and the market price, X. Consumer expenditure is the total amount spent on the goods. This is the area of rectangle OXYZ. Question 6. The supply curve for a firm is a horizontal straight line. What can be concluded from this statement? A is the correct answer. Quantity supplied is infinite at the given price. Perfectly or infinitely elastic supply is one in which the price remains the same no matter the quantity supplied. It is a horizontal line. A change in price will produce an infinite change in quantity supplied. Question 7. When the incomes of consumers of good X fall by 5%, under which conditions will the demand curve shift furthest to the right? B is the correct answer. Inferior good with income elasticity of -1.2. A shift of the demand curve to the right means an increase in demand. Income elasticity of demand shows the relationship between income and quantity demanded. There is an inverse relationship when demand shifts to the right as a result of a fall in income. This is the characteristic of an inferior good. Using the formula for YED, change in quantity demanded is YED times the percentage change in income. For option B, this is -1.2 times -5%. It is minus because income fell. The result is +6%. Plus is an increase. 6% is the highest increase. A is not correct. Percentage rise in quantity is 4%. That is -0.8 times -5%. This rise of 4% is less than 6% in option B. Options C and D are wrong because normal goods show a positive relationship between income and quantity demanded. A fall in income would lead to a shift to the left of the demand curve, not a rightward shift as stated in the question. Question 8. Good P and good Q are substitutes. There is a decrease in supply of good P because of a shortage of materials. Which row describes what will happen to demand? B is correct. Contraction of demand of good P and shift to the right of good Q. A decrease in the supply of good P owing to a shortage of materials shifts the supply curve to the left. Consequently, the price of good P rises. A rise in the price of good P decreases the quantity demanded of good P. This is a movement along the demand curve from point A to point B on the graph. This is also known as a contraction of demand. For good Q, quantity demanded will shift to the right, representing an increase. This is because a rise in the price of good P will lead to a switch to good Q, which is a substitute. A price change of a substitute would lead to a shift in the demand for a good because it is not the price of the good itself that changes. A is wrong because extension will be caused by a fall in a good's own price, not the price of a substitute. Extension is shown by a movement along the demand curve. C is wrong as a rise in the price of good P would not shift its demand curve, but cause a movement along the curve. And the demand curve of good Q will shift to the right, not to the left. D is also wrong because a change in the price of a good is a price factor, necessitating a movement along the curve, not a shift. Question 9. The pressure to reduce the use of fossil fuels has led to oil companies reducing the level of investment in the exploration of new reserves. What will be the long-run effect of such a policy on the market for oil? C is the right answer. Reduction in investment would reduce production and supply in the long run. This will cause the supply curve to shift leftward, as shown in the diagram. Consequently, the price rises from, say, P1 to P2. A and B are wrong, because only a change in the goods' own price will cause a movement along the curve. But reducing investment is a non-price factor affecting supply, not demand. D is wrong, because when the supply curve shifts to the left, price rises, not decreases. Question 10. The price elasticity of demand for a product is -0.6. The supplier wants to clear all surplus stock of a product and reduces the price of a good by 50%. What is the effect of this price change on the quantity purchased and the expenditure on the good? The correct answer is A. The price rises by 30% and expenditure falls, using the PED formula. Percentage change in quantity demanded is obtained by multiplying PED value by the percentage change in price. That is -0.6 times -50%. The result is plus 30%, representing a rise in quantity demanded. A minus means a fall. For this question, PED is inelastic because 0.6 is less than 1. A reduction in price, 50%, is more than the rise in quantity demanded, 30%. This means consumer spending on the product falls since the reduction is more than the increase. Question 11. A firm is producing 100 units at a price of $10. The price elasticity of supply is 0.5 and the price is raised to $12. What is the new level of output? B is the correct answer, 110. The PES is given. The two prices are given, but we don't have the two quantities. We have to first find the percentage change in quantity supplied to obtain the new level of output or quantity, using the PES formula. Change in quantity supplied can be obtained by multiplying PES and percentage change in price. Percentage change in price from $10 to $12 is 20%. That is 12 minus 10 divided by 10 times 100. Therefore, percentage change in quantity supplied is 0.5 times 20, giving 10%. The new quantity is obtained by increasing the original quantity of 100 units by 10%. This is 10 plus 100, which is equal to 110. Question 12. In a town, bus fares fall by 50%, and this leads to an increase in bus use by 30%. The effect on car use is very low, with only a 1% reduction. What is the value of the cross-elasticity of demand between car travel and bus travel? The answer is C plus 0.02. The formula for cross-elasticity of demand is percentage change in the quantity demanded of one product divided by the percentage change in the price of another product. Here, it will be percentage change in the quantity demanded of car divided by the percentage change in the price of bus. Note that we are only given one piece of information about car, which is car use, that is the quantity. So the percentage change in the quantity demanded of car will be the numerator. For bus, we have information about the price and quantity. We will use percentage change in the price of bus as the denominator. So XED is minus 1% divided by minus 50%, which is plus 0.02. Question 13. In the diagram, the demand and supply curves for wheat in Australia are shown. Initial equilibrium is at X. The government imposes a sales tax on wheat at the same time as increasing the rate of income tax. Which point could represent the new equilibrium? The answer is D. There are two factors involved. Sales tax is an indirect tax. It reduces supply and shifts the supply curve to the left from S to S1. Income tax rate increase will reduce demand because it reduces disposable income. Demand curve will shift from D to D2. The new supply curve S1 and the new demand curve D2 intersect at D. Question 14. A free market is currently experiencing excess supply at a price of P1. What will be the effect on the current market situation if a maximum price is set above P1? The correct answer is C. There will be no effect. Excess supply occurs above the equilibrium. A maximum price will only be effective if it is fixed below the equilibrium. A maximum price set above P1 is above the equilibrium price, and it will have no effect. Question 15. What is a likely disadvantage of a government's provision of transfer payments to the unemployed? B is correct. Disincentive to accept paid work. This is because they get income from the government. If there is no income at all, they will be more incentivized to look for work. A is wrong, because income or transfer from the government would improve access to goods and services. C is wrong because transfer payments to the unemployed will reduce income inequality. D is wrong because transfer payments will enable the poor to satisfy more of their needs, thereby reducing poverty. Question 16. Which combination of policies would increase the inequality of the distribution of income and wealth? B is correct. Progressive taxes, minimum wage and transfer payments are ways government intervenes to reduce inequality of income and wealth. For progressive taxes, tax rate increases as income increases, meaning it takes more from high-income earners. Reducing it would take less from the rich people, thereby promoting inequality. Reducing minimum wage means low-paid workers would earn less, widening the gap between high-income and low-income earners. Transfer payments increase purchasing power of the poor. Reducing it means that they would have less purchasing power to access basic services. This will increase inequality. Question 17. Which changes will increase the circular flow of income? The answer is D. Imports are leakages, reducing income flow in an economy. This is no. Investment is an injection, increasing income flow. This is yes. Taxation is a leakage as it reduces the income available for spending in the economy. This is no. Question 18. An economy in equilibrium has a trade deficit of $20 billion and a budget surplus of $20 billion. Investment spending is $50 billion. What is the total saving? The answer is B, $10 billion. An economy is in equilibrium when leakages and injections are equal. Trade deficit is a leakage because outflows from imports exceed inflows from exports. A budget surplus is also a leakage as tax revenue exceeds government spending. Total leakages amount to $40 billion, $20 billion plus $20 billion. Investment spending is an injection. Total leakages of $40 billion is less than total injection of $50 billion. The difference of $10 billion is saving, a leakage. This is obtained by subtracting $40 billion from $50 billion. Question 19. A finance company incurs heavy losses and makes an accountant redundant. The accountant seeks a new job through an employment agency which specializes in jobs in accounting. What describes the type of unemployment of the accountant who is seeking a new job? The answer is A, frictional. Frictional unemployment occurs when a person is searching for another job after leaving a particular job. The accountant was looking for a job through an employment agency due to lack of knowledge of available vacancies. B is wrong. Seasonal unemployment occurs when someone loses a job due to low demand during a certain time in a year. C is wrong as structural unemployment has to do with a mismatch of skills. D is wrong. Technological unemployment occurs when technology renders a worker redundant. Question 20. An aggregate demand curve slopes downwards from left to right. One reason for this is that a reduction in the average price level will lead to. The answer is C, an increase in the real value of money balances. There is an inverse relationship between price level and aggregate demand. A reduction in the average price level increases aggregate demand. Therefore, a reduction in the average price level means the inflation rate has gone down and the purchasing power of money has increased. The purchasing power of money is the real value of money. A is wrong because a fall in price level will make exports cheaper and increase their price competitiveness. B is wrong because a fall in the price level would reduce demand for money as products are cheaper. Less demand for money for purchases will reduce interest rate but not increase it. D is wrong. A reduction in price level may not cause the expectation of further price falls. Question 21. Which components are included as primary income in the current account of the balance of payments? D is the answer. Trade in goods is made up of exports and imports. This is not included. Current transfers are secondary income, not from productive activities. This is not included. Employment income from abroad is primary income as it comes from productive activities. This is included. This is why the answer is D. Question 22. What is not included in the measurement of national income? The answer is D. Welfare benefit payments. These are transfer payments. In measuring national income, transfer payments are not included because no productive services are given in return. A, B, and C accrue to factors of production, so they are included in national income measurement. Question 23. The graph shows the rate of inflation for 7 countries for 2015 and 2016. What can be concluded from this graph? A is correct. Prices in Costa Rica rose in 2015 but remained constant in 2016. Price in Costa Rica rose in 2015 because the inflation rate was positive. In 2016, however, the inflation rate was 0, meaning prices remained constant or unchanged. B is wrong because a reduction in the inflation rate in Ecuador and Mauritius in 2016 only meant prices rose at a lower rate. Prices did not decrease. This is known as disinflation. C is wrong. Prices were not constant in India and Malaysia in 2015 and 2016. Prices only rose at the same rate between the 2 years since the inflation rates were the same for both years. D is wrong. Prices fell in Japan in 2016 as the inflation rate became negative. In Thailand, however, prices rose as the inflation rate was positive. Question 24. Country R and country S are going to trade 1 unit of product X for a half unit of product Y. With a given amount of resources, country R can produce either 30 units of product X or 50 units of product Y. Country S can produce either 20 units of product X or 25 units of product Y. Which statement is correct according to the theory of comparative advantage? The answer is A. Free trade will benefit both R and S. Trade will be mutually beneficial to both countries. Each country will focus on the product in which it has a comparative advantage over the other. A country has a comparative advantage if it can produce a product at a lower opportunity cost than another. R has a comparative advantage in product Y. It gives up 0.6 unit of product X for every unit of product Y produced. Country S gives up 0.8 unit of product X for every unit of product Y produced. Country S should focus on producing X, as it has a lower opportunity cost of 1.3 compared to 1.7 for country R. Therefore, trade is mutually beneficial, as each country has a comparative advantage in one product. Question 25. What is the most likely cause of a current account deficit on the balance of payments? The correct answer is D, a general fall in national productivity. Current account deficit means that outflows from the components of the current account exceed the inflows. A fall in national productivity reduces the amount of goods available for consumption and export. The country will depend on imports to meet up with its demand. Increased imports and decreased exports would cause a current account deficit. A is wrong, because an undervalued exchange rate makes exports cheaper and imports dearer. This will increase exports and reduce imports, and lead to a current account surplus. B is wrong. A relatively low rate of inflation will make exports cheaper, increase exports, and cause surplus in the current account. C is wrong. A shrinking of the economy would make less money available for imports and cause a current account surplus. Question 26. The diagram shows the long-run aggregate supply, LRAS, and aggregate demand, AD curves for an economy. The initial equilibrium is at point X. Which combination of monetary policies will shift the equilibrium position to point Y? C is the answer. An increase in money supply and a decrease in interest rate will shift the aggregate demand from X to point Y. An increase in money supply increases aggregate demand and shifts AD to the right. A decrease in interest rate encourages borrowing, which will increase consumption and investment. Consumption and investment are components of aggregate demand. Increased consumption and investment will shift the AD curve to the right and intersect with the LRAS at Y. Question 27. The government undertakes a policy of financing training and retraining for unemployed workers. Which terms are most likely to be used to classify this policy? The correct answer is D. Training and retraining helps improve skill and productivity and total output in the economy. It is a supply-side policy. Government spending on training and retraining qualifies as a fiscal policy, since fiscal policy is made up of expected revenue and proposed spending of the government. Question 28. Which combination of initial equilibrium and supply-side policy is likely to be least effective when attempting to increase the real output of an economy? The correct answer is A. If an economy operates below full employment, it is producing below its productive capacity. It makes it difficult to increase real output if an economy is operating below full employment. The second part is the abolition of national minimum wage. This will reduce productivity of the workers and make it difficult to raise the real output of the economy. Question 29. A government aims to reduce unemployment through expansionary fiscal policy and borrows more from the commercial banks, increasing its borrowing requirement. What will be the result? D is the answer. An increase in the interest rates. Expansionary fiscal policy will increase aggregate demand and inflation rate. A rise in inflation rate would mean people require more money to purchase goods. Increase in demand for money will raise the interest rate. More borrowing by government would also increase the demand for money, thereby making the cost of borrowing more expensive. Question 30. A government wants to use an expansionary monetary policy. What should the government increase? D is the answer, the money supply. Expansionary monetary policy is meant to increase aggregate demand. Increasing the money supply will increase aggregate demand, as more money will be in circulation. A is wrong, because increasing credit regulations reduces bank lending, borrowing, consumption, and aggregate demand. B is wrong. Increasing the exchange rate reduces exports as they are more expensive and increases imports which are cheaper. Reduced exports and increased imports will reduce aggregate demand. C is wrong. Increasing the interest rate makes borrowing costly, decreasing consumption, investment, and aggregate demand.